Hello, hello, and welcome to Community TV with Adaire. This is TV for you by TV from me, and this is where I talk to people in the community who are doing amazing things to help the people around them. It could be anything from healing, tarot card reading, gardening, cooking, physical fitness, makeup, skincare. We cover it all here on Community TV with Adaire on mytimetv.live. Today, my very, very special guest is the amazing Getrude Matshe, and I'm going to have to check that I have pronounced your name correctly, Getrude. It's my pleasure to welcome you as an international guest speaker, celebrated author, and philanthropy consultant, Rooney International Scholar, TEDx Speaker, and Wellington, New Zealand Rotary Member. So, welcome, Getrude. How are you?
I am awesome. Thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. And I shortened that introduction by a mile because your bio is like just glitters when you read it. You have done so much. And as a fellow Rotarian, I'm quite humbled to be in your presence. What attracted me to be speaking to you today is the her story, Women's Empowerment Conference. So now, is it Getrude or because that's always tend to
Gertrude. Yeah. It's a Gertrude with the R.
We take letters out or we put letters in at random. So Getrude. We've got a few people here who've popped in. Roz, hi, lovely to see you. Natasha, hello. Yvonne, lovely to see you here, honey. And welcome to you all. I'd just like to get you to invite your friends to participate or be here with us today on Community TV with Adaire. And also, if you want to share, if you're here for the replay, if you can't make it live, thank you very much for joining us for the replay, and feel free to share because we have got such an important message that we want to share today. So, Getrude, let's start with the journey that you've been on. So Wellington, New Zealand, I've been privy to your TEDx talk, and I have to say I cried. So just a version of what's brought you here today.
Oh, life has been magical is the only way to describe it. The passionate project that I'm working on right now is the Her Story Women's Global Empowerment Conference. And I came up with this crazy idea that I wanted to connect 1 million women in 1 year all over the world. And it came like a vision, fully formed in my head. I just was shown little boxes, little circles with groups of women connecting and meeting. And so I thought if I had 1,000 events that had 100 speakers in each event, and I inspired the speakers to invite 10 of their friends to attend a conference, we'd have 1,000 women at every single location. And 1,000 times 1,000 is 1 million. It sounded very easy and very simple. And so I put it out there on Facebook 4 weeks ago, and it has been phenomenal, the response that my post has received. I mean, that's how you and I met. We have a database of 750 speakers already, but not quite evenly distributed around the world. And people are still applying. People are still connecting. New venues are popping up. We have 250 locations locked in already in 4 weeks. And it looks like it's achievable. The theme of the conference is making the impossible possible.
I know, I love it. I love it. And I get goosebumps when I don't even know how I came across this information, but it is absolutely, it has to be something from a higher power that's saying this is something that you need to be involved in, because when I saw it, I'm just going to show you, I'm actually got up here, I have my vision board. Now, I did this earlier with a couple of amazing women, Sue Ellen Corden and Monica Mundell. And it is about women coming together and taking a journey, and the world awaits your discovery, female challenges, expect the unexpected, growing from within.
Oh, wow.
At the beginning of this year, mindful ways to once upon a party, we were born to voyage. I actually didn't realize that my vision board is so aligned with what you're doing.
It is the conference.
It's the conference. It's like, wow, because we've got the learning as well here. See the books?
Yes. Oh, I love it.
So I get goosebumps. I'm excited.
You predicted my coming into your life way before we met.
That's amazing. And I actually had it visually there. That's the first time I've ever created a vision board. And it was funny, when I did that, I thought there is so much more in my life and to my life, but this is what came together. And I didn't have any expectations. I just was looking through the journals and the magazines, because I never look at those. And I'm just pulling out pictures and quotes and sayings that are really appealing to me. And that's what came together. So I don't think it's any coincidence that I'm heading up the Adelaide conference, and it's my honour to do this. I would actually like to, I do want to talk to you a little bit more about your journey that brought you here, but I would like to invite people, if you are interested in becoming involved in any way, shape or form, if you're in Adelaide, there's 2 links that I've popped down here. One's a bit.ly link, and it's Her Story Adelaide. So if you're in Adelaide, please click on that link. If you would like to know more about what's happening around the world, it is one that's herstorycircle.com/event. Both of those links are in the comments down here. I'll pin them to the top. So please have a look at that, and please just be involved. Be involved in any way you can, because I think it's just, I've asked, I'm talking to my mum, I'm talking to my sisters, I'm talking to, and one of the things that's coming back is that people are saying, well, what would I say? What would I talk about? I'm just a mum.
And that's the problem with most women. We undervalue the value of our stories. Conference women are going to talk for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes. And we're hoping that in each of those time slots, they talk about something completely different. So who are you as a mother? What have you done in your profession? What is your spiritual practice? What about health and wellness? We're going to be touching on all aspects that affect women and women's empowerment at this conference. So everybody has a story. We all have something to share and to leave in the world. And I think it's when we start to honor our stories and to share them that we change the world. And that's what the conference is about.
I love it. I love it. So what brought you to this point?
I always say that spirit blew me here. New Zealand was not a country that was on my vision board or place to go. I was on my way to America in 2001.
From Zambia?
From Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe, sorry, yes.
And they discovered an error on my daughter's visa while I was in transit in Johannesburg. The political trouble in Zimbabwe was at its worst. Anybody who had a passport was leaving. And the US Embassy just misprinted the passport number on the visa sticker. And they said, you can't proceed, go back to Zimbabwe. I went back to the embassy, and because there was an exodus of people leaving, they had to change their rules that week. And I had to come back with a bank statement with $6 million before they would correct the error that they made. Given it's in dollars, which with inflation, we had hyperinflation, but still to me, it was $6 million. And so we literally lost everything we owned. We had sold a house, our car, furniture, just to raise the money for the air tickets for me to be able to leave with the children. And 2 weeks later, September 11 happened, and I was heading to New York. And I always say to people, if I had got on that flight, I might not be speaking to you today. I could have been anywhere in New York the day the Twin Towers came down.
Wow.
Wellington, because I had a cousin who was living here who says she was looking on the Hotmail address book one day, just randomly looking at people's names. And she picked up my misspelled German name and sent me an email saying, "Where are you? You've got to leave the country." And I told her what had happened. And she just said, "Gertrude, if you have faith, find the money. Come to New Zealand, you won't regret it." So it was an act of faith that brought us here. We sold another house that we owned in South Africa. And it will be 20 years this year that I've lived in New Zealand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. So, and you've obviously you've built a life. Like I said, I know a little bit about your story because I've heard your. Actually, I've watched it 3 times, the TEDx talk. I feel like I have an unfair advantage in that I know you quite well because.
Love it.
Yeah. So on Kay's here as well. Kay's from Tasmania, and she's part of our community as well. So thank you, welcome, Kay. So in New Zealand, you've built it. You've been uprooted from your home country, and blown by spirit to New Zealand, and you built a life. I love the part of your story, and I'm not going to hijack it for you. But you can share about how you ended up doing what you were doing in New Zealand, and then it's sort of part of the journey that's brought you here.
Well, my first job when I got to New Zealand, IT was my background. I was a systems analyst. I was a programmer and a developer. And I got a job working for a company that designed hospital software. But when we got to New Zealand, my husband couldn't find a job here. The Medical Council of New Zealand took over a year to accredit his qualifications. So he came to Australia. He came to Queensland, got a job in Mount Isa in a rural outback post where there wasn't even a road to the place. They had to fly him in. And so he said, "Look, stay in New Zealand. I'll commute and come home once a month." And we thought it would just take a few months. And then I found myself a year plus alone with 3 small kids under the age of 12, holding down a full-time job and losing it. So I became a serial social entrepreneur. I quit my job and decided to go back to my other passion, which is art. I'm a textile designer. I started painting my fabrics and tried to sell the fabric in New Zealand, and it wouldn't sell. My colors were all wrong. I was painting zebras and giraffes and elephants. People didn't know what to do with the fabric, but I ran a small shop for a year and exported a lot of my textiles to the United States. Then I created a recruitment agency for health workers. I ran that company for 13 years. I went into property investing. I had a property investing company for 19 years. I went into the film industry and actually took part in the making of King Kong and Avatar. And they were looking for extras. And so I created a database that I sold to Peter Jackson's team and supplied all the ethnic extras that took part in both Avatar and King Kong. And that inspired me to become a filmmaker. I went back to college and studied to make films. So now I exist as a writer. I write screenplays, I write books and teach people to write books and write their own screenplays. And now I'm curating this amazing global conference in 1,000 locations around the world. So it's been quite a journey.
So it's very, very eclectic. There's such a rich, vast arrangement of different things. And I love that you're IT systems analyst. And look at what you're doing now. Is this the left brain marrying the right brain, or how does that work?
I think my brain fires on both sides equally. People always ask me that question. I'm very creative, but very analytical as well on the other side. And I've just been gifted with this crazy mind that comes up with ideas and I execute. I'm not scared to try things out. I failed a lot, but I kind of learned from all of my failings. I just believe they're stepping stones to my success. I dust myself off and I try the next thing and I try the next thing. And life is magical that way.
It is, isn't it? There's never a dull moment. So we'll bring it back. I just remind people, please, if you know of people who you would love to hear what Getrude has to say, please invite them to watch and also share the broadcast if you're inspired to do that. If you are looking to be participating in the Her Story Women's Empowerment Conferences, we would absolutely love to have your registration of interest. We do have there's two links. There's one, Her Story Adelaide. It's a bit.ly link that I've popped below. And there's also one that is called, actually, that one's the Her Story Adelaide. So look for that in the comments. When we finish today, I will also pop them in the post, the body of the post as well. And then also, if you're looking broader than Adelaide, if you have an interest in becoming a speaker or finding out more about conferences around the globe, look at herstorycircle.com event. So you'll get more information. So with this, it is quite a big task. 1 million women in a year around the globe. Like, seriously, I'm going, there is some that, like, wow.
I'll tell you, I've learned to speak Colombian Spanish by using Google Translate. I have had women in every corner of the world connecting with me through Facebook. Yes. They don't speak a word of English, but we have found ways to communicate, and it's just been absolutely magical. And it's been word of mouth. This is what's really fascinating me, that it's one woman who's telling the next woman. And I feel like I was holding on to a bunch of dry twigs, and all I did was light a match. And what I thought was going to be a small little fire has turned into a bonfire. I don't know anymore.
And then you got sparks flying everywhere, and it's like, whoa! It's out of control. It's out of control. But that sounds like it's absolutely. I guess you can't imagine how something like this is actually going to go. But when I first saw you in your first video, and you were talking about your vision, I'm getting goosebumps now, about how it was going to work, about how it was going to come together, and how you've envisioned it rolling out. I'm just going, this woman is a woman with a huge mission. She's got this massive, she's making an impact on the world, and I want in on that because it was, so totally aligned with what I'm doing. So there's so many women out there that go, I would love to speak up. I would love to have that little bit of help and support, but I'm too scared. I get that as well. So what advice have you got to those women who know they should put their hand up but are really too fearful to do it?
This is a conference for a woman who wants to finally be heard. We've had women who are professional speakers sign up, but we are more encouraging those who have never spoken before. My passion is for every woman's voice to be heard wherever you are in the world, because women are so disempowered in that sense. And we are going to mentor and coach and handhold you to help you every single step of the way. There are some phenomenal women in the network. We've started doing webinars every single day. I'm online interviewing a woman, giving ideas and tips on how to write your speech, how to deliver it. Today, I was talking to a voice expert in Singapore, and she shared some ideas on, how you can refine your voice and be heard. So don't be scared to step up. You are in a circle of sisters and friends. The reason why I called it the Her Story Circle is because traditionally women always used to meet in circles. But with the modern society, women aren't coming together anymore. And worse so now because of technology. There's a lot of conferences going on around the world, but mostly online. People aren't connecting in physical spaces. And it's about connection, and people are craving that connection.
We've got Andrew and Jessica have joined us. So thank you, ladies, for joining us. So yes, I believe that we are craving that physical connection.
And I think as well, I have to thank you for putting up your hands to lead in Adelaide. It's people like you who see a crazy nut like me doing something and you think, oh, that crazy nut looks interesting. Let's join her.
Very well.
Two crazy nuts doing something, and before you know it, it's 100 of us.
I've got this. There was no hope for me. I've got this. Or there was every hope for me. It was like, what else can I take on? But I knew
it's a shared vision, and we are co-creating it together. You know, who have come on board have just blown me away with the ideas. You know, we have to fundraise to pay for our venues, to make sure that we feed all the speakers who are coming. And the ideas that are flowing in from the collective is what's really fascinating.
Yes.
And the underlying principle to this conference is the Ubuntu philosophy. And I'll just explain it in a few words what Ubuntu is. The literal translation of the word is a person is a person through other people.
Yes.
In Africa, we believe it's the condition of being human, that there is no you, there's no me, there's only we. And we're reflections of each other. So if you weren't there looking at me and acknowledging my existence, I would not exist, and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so it's about empathy, it's about compassion and collaboration. And that's how this conference is literally creating itself. Yes, I might have been the person who initiated it, but it's not my project, it's ours. And that's really what is making me wake up at 4 o'clock every morning and talk to random strangers on the other side of the world. And I'm exhausted by the end of the week, but it's so energizing.
And I think that's amazing when you talked about is it Ubuntu?
Ubuntu.
When I heard you say that in the TEDx talk, and I went, I love that. I love that. My background's community development, and it just sat so well with me. It's and I just love that philosophy. Kate is here as well. Kate, honey, we are not doing cards or healing psychic readings. We're community TV with Adaire, and we are live on mytimetv.live. We do have, for your information, Getrude, we do have a range of different presenters who come in and present their shows, or their broadcast shows as a collective. We collaborate very well to share knowledge and share our experiences and share our skills and talents, and we do that in one central place so that we can, because they're people working in their own space. If they don't have a huge amount of followers, they don't tend to, it's hard work when you're going it alone. So I've created this space, mytimetv.live, so we can share, and we can all share each other's audiences and bring other people to other shows. So Kate, if I have anything for you, it is that you will enjoy the presence of the lovely Getrude, and you can also, wherever you are, if you're interested in the Women's Empowerment Conference, the links are below, so feel free to click on them and get more information. I think that's amazing. Now, I did want to ask you, because I have a huge social conscience, it's very important to me. I'm starting to, someone said to me a few months ago, if I could tell you how to make $1 million this year, would you be interested? And I'm going, of course, everybody wants $1 million. But actually, what came out of my mouth was, you tell me how I can help 1 million people, and you've got my 100% attention, which is why I'm talking to you and not her right now. So
I love that. Yeah, so there is a social impact component to this conference. I've always gone to conferences around the world, and a lot of women's conferences. I've always been trying to empower myself and connect with like-minded women. And I always come back home thinking we could have done so much more together as a collective. We could have gotten behind some women's project or something that could help children. And so what we've done with this conference is the social impact aspect of it asks you, the person who's leading in your location, to find a project in your community that you can get behind, and to also look at a project offshore that you can get behind. So you can imagine if you have 100 women and you eventually have an audience of 1,000 with the people who are coming to the conference. And we were trying to build a hospital in Zimbabwe, for example, which is what I'm trying to do with the Wellington conference. If 1,000 women were to pitch in with $10 each, that's $100,000 like that could help build a clinic. Now, I couldn't raise $100,000 on my own, but with the help of my sisters globally, I can.
Yes.
So I'm trying to connect the women in the developing world and the women in the developed world so that we form those collaborations, we uplift each other, and we bring about change. So our projects are focused around women and children, the elderly, and the homeless. Right now, there are more homeless women over the age of 50 in any country than any other time in history.
Yeah.
So
and it's scary.
we need to catch those women and protect them.
Yes, yes. No, and I would imagine that with the statistics with that, because there's all sorts of things around insurance and, you know, with divorce rates and that type of thing, or partners dying and then they're just left penniless pretty much. So it is a huge, and I actually, several of my friends have been in that position where they've had to, and through domestic violence, have had to seek refuge in women's shelters and that type of thing. So it is a problem, and we're actually involved with a group called Healing Through Love, and they have Pamper Days, and they work with, we're working with them and a local volunteer resource centre as well, to help them raise awareness and raise funds with for places in Adelaide like Catherine House and other shelters that will, you know, sort of be there and help women who are affected by domestic violence, but definitely homelessness as well. There's another girl that we're working with, and she's actually been on, we have a show on Thursday mornings called The Show With No Name, and we might actually have you on there as well, but she does works in Ghana, her and her husband, and do some great work in there, so I might have a chat with her. So we all know somebody that would be able to benefit or be able to help. So I love the social enterprise, or the social good aspect of it, and if we can look at social enterprise even better, then and that's definitely something that I'm really, really interested in getting my head around. So, but we're out of time right now. But what I want to do before we go, I did give you a little briefing about this, and I'm going to just hide the names, and we've got the little love heart with the buildings come up. So if I could get you to move your head to the left just a little bit, that's perfect. And I'll put by there. Okay, so look at your camera and smile. And that should be fine. Beautiful. All right.
There. Thank you so much for the interview.
It has been an absolute delight. I'm sure we will have you on again, because I know that we're going to have a lot of people wanting to know about the progress and how we go. And, you know, and I'd love to share. I sort of live out loud. I was going to say a lot in terms of sharing what's happening, and, you know, things that we're coming across. If we come across any issues, I just want to share with you before we go. We have in my agenda here, we have this. It's called #ItTakesAVillage.
Oh.
And this is, we do a lot of work with not-for-profits, and we always we acknowledge that it takes a village. It doesn't, you cannot do it by yourself. And this is what I love about your vision, Getrude, is that you have that vision of bringing people together, and the Ubuntu, I'm going to get this. Ubuntu. I know a person is a person through other people.
Yes.
And that's what I'm really quite passionate about. So thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. I'm just going to pop you out of the show and wind it up, and I'll see you in the live.
And thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Oh my Lord, what an amazing woman. Totally inspirational. Okay, hashtag inspo. Getrude Matshe, and I'm sure I pronounced the name properly this time. She's smiling, so I'm hoping it's right. So please join me again for Community TV with Adaire on mytimetv.live at 2 p.m. Australian Central Daylight Time next Wednesday. If you are interested in going, having any involvement in the conference at all, the links are below, and I will actually be putting them up here in the body of the post as well. Have a wonderful week, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.